Shalom Akim. All praises goes to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Hakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, Grand Millstone. Salutations to the rest they're pushing this word in all sincerity and honesty, the hopeful elect. I'm Brother Korah Allah. Through the Spirit, there's going to be a quick lesson. This is from Alternative Finance News. It says, published on November 21st, 2020, says New York City officials confirmed second city lockdown by December 1st, which December 1st is today. Okay. Quick update that came on 11/30/2020, which that was yesterday, right before the shutdown. It says at 2:44 p.m. It says, due to backlash from New York City residents regarding the lockdown, New York City officials have elected to implement further restrictions in certain areas rather than a city-wide shutdown. All right, so due to New York City residents, they kind of eased up, and instead of making it a full-out lockdown, locking everything down, they gave restrictions to certain areas rather than a citywide shutdown. Right, because if you read on, Governor Cuomo warns New York City of the second lockdown on Thursday. Right, today's Tuesday, but they're right because this is old news. It says in his press conference this afternoon, Governor Cuomo announced that all of New York City will become an orange zone if the citywide positivity rate hits 3% under the micro cluster strategy. Indoor dining and high risk non-essential businesses like gyms and personal care services would close. Schools will also close. But during the governor's press conference, New York City Chancellor Richard A. Carranza sent an email to principals that schools would close and go to virtual learning as of tomorrow, as New York Times first reported source. All right, so there you go, man. A lot of these businesses, especially dealing with restaurants and gyms, a lot of them have to close down. Even banks are shutting down certain branches. It says, essentially, it means that and New York City lockdown is happening again after Cuomo said orange zone only meaning high risk, non-essential businesses, and de Blasio went ahead and shut down all public schools. At this point, New York City residents should expect the term orange zone to be an attempt at sounding like lockdown light. All right. It says, but when the New York City second lockdown is announced, New Yorkers should not expect any differences from the first one or any less chaos after its announcement. Okay, so that's just a little bit on the article. I'll put it in the description. But going back up, it says yesterday, it says, due to backlash from New York City residents regarding the lockdown, New York City officials have elected to implement further restrictions in certain areas rather than a citywide shutdown. All right, so the people fighting back against the government. All right, now there's something called gradualism. All right, which is what the government or the elites do to bring in their agenda. All right, I'm trying not to get a flag. Okay, I'm trying not to get my lesson taken down, but it's something called gradualism, which they use to bring in their agenda. All right, the NWO. Okay, and those RFIDs. All right, the RFID microchip. Okay, so they tried to bring out the lockdown, but they saw the reaction of the people and they fell back. But they don't really care. They still gonna do what they have to do. All that means is they'll have to bring in more security. All right, basically martial law. Now with that being said, this basically reminded me of Second Ezra, the 15th chapter. All right, even the 16th chapter when it said a man shall desire to see, a man shall desire to hear and see another. All right, because if you go into a lockdown, that's what it's going to be. All right, the stores are going to be closed. People are going to be indoors. There's going to be no outside festivals or activities to do. You basically be indoors or trying to find some source of food. Okay, but this is Second Ezra 15:15. It says, "For the sword and their destruction drove nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands." All right, and that's going into race wars, class wars. All right, one people stand to fight against another. Right. Verse 16. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men." That's the point right here. "For there shall be sedition among men," which sedition is an uprising against the government. All right. And invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes. Right. Because you go ahead and tell somebody they got to stay inside and they can't go out to get food, or they should have stocked up on food when they had the chance. All right. In the meantime, they're starving and their family is starving. You go ahead and tell them they got to stay inside. It says, "For there shall be sedition," right? Riots, uprising people. All right. "They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." Now we saw this happening with that the Black Lives Matter movement. Although it was all set up, we still saw people outside rioting, all right, looting, okay, and all this is in the midst of a lockdown and a curfew, okay, around that time. And if this happens again, this lockdown happens again, which it is, people are gonna lose their minds. It says, "And the course of their actions shall be in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." And we also see this happening with the COVID testings going on. All right. It says, "For because of their pride and the city shall." It says, "For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid." All right. So men are going to be afraid. All these tough guys out here acting all crazy and, they do what they want. They got the walk. They got their guns, the crew. All right. Even even your authorities. Okay. Because things going to happen. You're going to realize you're just a man. All right. That pride is going to leave you. "And man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation." Right. That's what we're going into now, because there's also going to be a famine. All right. That famine is coming. Okay. And whoever runs out of food first, they have to go to their neighbor's house to get food, and if their neighbor say they can't do it, they might have to go and get that food by force. All right, and that's going to be a global thing. Okay, but that's basically it. That's the article. I want to say all praise goes to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, the apostles and the elders, great millstone. Citations to the rest I did pushing this word in all sincerity and honesty. Shalom.